welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor. I'm a stay-at-home mom and I share these What's for Dinner videos every week to hopefully give you some meal inspiration and to motivate you to cook more at home. If you are new here, I hope that you will subscribe down below if you like these kinds of videos. As always, any recipes that I mention will be linked down below as well. And now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night for dinner we had spaghetti. Whenever I make spaghetti, I always check the fridge because usually I have like some random jars of like tomato sauce or something. So I actually had half a jar of marinara sauce from I think pizza, and then half a jar of tomato paste, and then I had one whole jar of marinara, and we just had spaghetti with spaghetti noodles, and that was it. Super simple, family favorite dinner. Saturday night, I made a sheet pan shrimp boil. I saw this over at my friend Brittany's channel, Britt's Kitchen. I will have her video linked down below, and I will also have this recipe linked down below as well. So I'm starting off by cutting up 1 pound of little yellow potatoes into like equal pieces. Some of them I cut in half, some of them I cut in thirds, and I'm adding them to a glass bowl, and then I'm going to put a little bit of water in the bottom. I'm not going to cover them, just a little bit of water. We're kind of like steam them to get them started cooking. So I put the water in there, and then I put a lid on it, and I microwave them for 7 minutes. In a very large bowl, I mixed together the seasoning mixture. So I started off with 1 tablespoon of Old Bay, and then a teaspoon of garlic powder, and half a teaspoon each of ground mustard, ground cumin, and dried dill. And then I added in 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil and gave everything a good stir. The recipe said 3 ears of sweet corn cut into 4 pieces, but the pack of corn that I bought was a little bit bigger and it was 4 ears of corn, so I cut each 4 ears of corn into 3 pieces, and then I added those to that sauce mixture. And then I also cut up a 1 pound or close to 1 pound, 12-ounce package of smoked and dewy sausage. The recipe said chicken sausage. I just did this regular sausage one, and I found this at Walmart, and this is I think the second time we've had it, and I really like this andouille sausage. But if you don't like a lot of spice, I would recommend just using like a regular smoked sausage, because the andouille sausage is pretty spicy. And then when the potatoes were done in the microwave, I drained the water from them, and then I added them to this bowl with the sausage and corn and the sauce mixture and gave everything a good stir so it could get nice and coated in that sauce. And then I added it to a foil-lined sheet pan. I also sprayed the sheet pan with a little bit of cooking spray. And you'll see here I'm also adding some salt and pepper because I forgot I was supposed to add that to the sauce mixture. So go ahead and add some salt and pepper to your sauce mixture in the beginning as well. But I lined this tray with foil and then sprayed it, as I said, and then put that on there. And then I baked this at 400 degrees for 15 minutes. While that was baking in the oven, I used the same bowl and I added in 1 pound of peeled and deveined shrimp, 1 tablespoon of the olive oil, and another teaspoon of the Old Bay seasoning along with some salt, and I just stirred that around, got the shrimp nice and coated with that. After 15 minutes, I removed the sheet pan from the oven and gave everything a good stir, and then I added that shrimp on there as well and made sure that everything was in one single layer. And then this went back in the oven for another 10 minutes. While that was baking, I mixed together a little parsley lemon butter. This said to use fresh parsley, but I didn't have fresh parsley, so I just kind of added in a bunch of dried parsley, 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and the juice from 1 lemon. And then when everything was done cooking, I just drizzled that parsley lemon butter over everything. made some copycat Red Lobster Cheddar Bay biscuits to go with this. I just thought it would be perfect with it, and it was, and we all really, really liked this. I will definitely make it again. It was super delicious. Tonight for dinner, we are going to have sheet pan chicken fajitas. So I am going to let this sit in the fridge for about an hour before dinner and like kind of marinate. So I've got some chicken breasts. These are actually, there's 2 pieces in here, but it was 1 breast that I had cut thinly. And I'm actually going to take this and slice it into thin strips. So I pulled out 2 bags. So that's only 2 chicken breasts. I had just, like I said, cut them thinner in preparation for anything else that I wanted to make, because that's what I always do. But I'm gonna slice that, as I said. And then I've got this fajita seasoning mix from Aldi. I'm gonna mix this with some olive oil in this bowl with the chicken. And then I'm also gonna slice up these 2 peppers and an onion into strips. And I did have an orange pepper too, but it had a bad spot on it. So I'm just gonna do this red and this yellow, and then that's just gonna sit in this bowl with the lid on it for about an hour until I cook dinner. At this point, I remembered that I had half of a lime in the fridge that I wanted to use up, so I went ahead and added that to this as well. This is not something that I always do, but you know, I always try to use up any kind of leftovers that I have in the fridge. Okay, I'm preheating my oven to 425. I'm just going to take this chicken and veggies and stuff and put it on this sheet pan that I have lined with some parchment paper. And then this is going to bake for about 25 minutes. After baking for 25 minutes, I flipped the oven to broil, and then I broiled this for about 4 minutes. And then I just made a can of black beans on the side. I seasoned them with some adobo, and then I had some guacamole in the freezer, so we had that with it as well. The kids like their fajitas pretty simple. They don't really like the onions and peppers really, but they did try one with some, and then just some cheese. And then I put my guacamole on my actual fajitas with some sour cream and some cheese, and that was it. Monday night for dinner, we had pizza burgers. This is something I have made in the past, but I haven't made it in quite a while, I don't think. So I started off by seasoning a pound of ground beef with some garlic powder, some onion powder, some Italian seasoning, and some salt and pepper. And then I mixed that around really good and formed it into 4 burger patties. I cooked those over medium heat for about 5 minutes per side. Then I added in about half a jar of marinara, and I made sure to coat the burgers all over with that. And then I topped them with some sliced mozzarella, and I put a lid on this to let the mozzarella melt. While the burgers were simmering in the marinara sauce, I put some of the Chef Chamois garlic butter on our hamburger buns. I just did it on the top side, and I let those go in the oven at 350 for about 5 minutes. Once the mozzarella cheese started to melt, I went in and added some pepperonis to each burger. And we just had these with a little salad on the side, except for Lily, of course, because she doesn't like lettuce. She just had some tomatoes, carrots, and cucumbers. And if you like pizza and you like burgers, you definitely have to try this. It's a great combination. Tuesday night, I made up a recipe for bacon-wrapped barbecue chicken tenders. My friend Tamara over at Southern Wife Everyday Life does like brown sugar chili bacon wrapped chicken tenders, and I really liked them when I made them before, but Andy didn't really care for them because he said they were a little bit too sweet. So I decided to do something similar but with barbecue sauce. So here I am seasoning my chicken tenders with the tendon removed with some garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, salt, and pepper, and I did that on both sides. And then I wrapped each tender with a piece of bacon, and then I just brushed them with some barbecue sauce. And then I baked these at 375 for a total of about 30 minutes, flipping them halfway through and brushing the other side with more barbecue sauce. To go with the bacon wrapped chicken tenders, I made my Instant Pot mac and cheese. I've shared this recipe quite a few times. I will have it linked down below. It's super easy and so good. And then I also made a can of green beans. And these bacon wrapped barbecue chicken tenders turned out so good. On Wednesday night, we had Salisbury Steak. This is a recipe from Six Sisters Stuff. I've never tried this recipe before, and I honestly want to try it again because I made it with like 97% lean ground beef, and the texture of the ground beef just was not great. And I just feel like it's because it didn't have like any fat in it at all. And so it just didn't turn out awesome, but I do want to try it again because it has a lot of good reviews on Pinterest, and I've seen some other people make this recipe and not have any problem with it. I I mean, we ate it. It was edible, but I would not recommend making it with like super lean ground beef. So to my ground beef, I added 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, 1 package of a dry onion soup mix, 1 egg, and 2 tablespoons of water. And then I shaped that into 4 patties. I cooked these over medium heat for about 10 minutes on each side. The recipe wanted you to use a 12-ounce jar of beef gravy. Instead of doing that, I just used one of these gravy packets that I had on hand. So I just made that according to the package directions. You basically just whisk in 1 cup of cold water and then heat it up until it thickens. You can see here when I flip these burgers or patties or whatever that when I flip them, like they've been cooking for 10 minutes, as I said, and there's like no grease in the pan at all. The texture on this meat was just really weird. It was just some grass-fed 97% lean ground beef, and I just did not care for the texture of it. But after those had cooked pretty much through, I poured in that gravy that I made and just let those simmer for another 10 minutes in the gravy. And I just served this on top of some Instant Pot mashed potatoes with a can of corn on the side. Thursday night we had 1 pan cilantro chicken and rice. This recipe came from the Goya website. I had this cilantro cooking base you may have seen in a haul previously that I picked up, and I wanted to use it, so I was trying to find a way to use it, and I found this 1 pan recipe, which I love 1 pan recipes. So it starts off with me cooking up 1 pound of chicken breast that I cut into bite-sized pieces, and I seasoned that all over with the adobo seasoning, and it called for the adobo with pepper, but I just had the regular adobo, and so I seasoned it with some pepper as well. And I just browned the chicken on all sides. It doesn't have to be cooked all the way through because we are going to simmer it with the rice. When the chicken was browned, I removed it from the pan, and then I added in 2 cups of white rice, and I let that saute for a couple of minutes. Once the rice was toasted, I went in with the cilantro cooking base. This is what I was talking about that inspired the whole reason to try this recipe. I saw this sauce on Andrea Shenanigan's channel. She made a white chicken chili with it, and I didn't really want chili at this time of year, but I had to try this sauce, so I found this recipe instead. I added that whole jar in, and then I also added in 3 cups of chicken broth along with a can of drained and rinsed black beans, some diced green chilies, and 1 red bell pepper that I diced up. I also added back in my chicken and gave everything a good stir, and then I brought that to a boil over a medium-high heat, and when it came to a boil, I reduced the heat to low and covered it and let it simmer for about 20 minutes until the rice was cooked through and most of that liquid was absorbed. My rice is never usually done when a recipe says it'll be done. They usually always say like 20 minutes, but for me, it always takes like 25. That's why I usually stick to making rice in the Instant Pot. But this was perfect after 25 minutes for me, and then I just stirred in some chopped cilantro and the juice of half of a lime. If you like cilantro like we do, I think you'll really, really like this recipe. It was really good. I just served it with some extra lime on the side, and Andy actually, when he ate it later, had some cheese dip on top and said it was really good as well. But that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan on trying any of these recipes. I hope you all had a happy Easter weekend, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!